Now in this video we're going to get into the sandstone a little bit more. And this is Pennsylvania bluestone, and some call it gray stone or lilac, and it's used for patios or stick-on stone, or it comes thick. But first we're going to take a look at the railroad beds and see where this comes from. Okay, I'm standing in front of a couple tunnels that go under the railroad tracks. And all my family was stonemasons, and they worked on the railroad, and they were coal miners. So I'm going to do a little video here on the railroads and a little bit about the stonework and how they were built. Now we're on a railroad track bed, and what they did here was they blasted this out of here. This is Pennsylvania bluestone. It's a sandstone. And what they did was they saved the big pieces, and they made the big projects out of them, and all the junk they would fill in the bed with. So I'm going to show you a little sample of when they were ripping the stone out. Now here's an example of a big piece of stone that they left. You can see right here where they were winching it out, and the stone will move a little bit. And for some reason they didn't take it. But you see how it comes in seams, and they use a big stone like this for a big project, and then the junk they just fill in the railroad bed with it. Now we're still at the railroad bed, and this is Pennsylvania bluestone. When they quarry the stone, they just get their shivs in there. You can see everything moving. And they pull it out, and that's the stone I would use for patios or for stick-on stone. Now where I come from, this stone is all over the place. It's called Pennsylvania bluestone, flagstone, colonial, whatever you want to call it. But when I lay it flat like this, it'll be on my video how to put in a stone patio. And this is what it looks like. Now if you wanted to take the same stone and you wanted to face it like this, now when you get done facing it, or dressing it as some people call it, you can use it on a job that looks something like this that I once did. Now here's something I want to point out about when they built these dry stone walls on railroad tracks. They always put a big lean on them, and they went back about 8 feet here. I measured it. And when the land came down, it goes over the top of the stone because they don't want the water to go behind it, because the water will push it. The whole idea behind a dry stone wall is to hold the dirt back, and when the dirt freezes, the water comes over the top of it and not behind it. Now, some people in my videos, they see me use gravel for a lot of base, for patios, for pillars, and the fact is, what I learned from the old timers, a lot of them worked on the old railroads and the churches and the WPA, and gravel, they told me, was always the best base. That's why they could put hundreds of tons of freight going over it. There's no footers under here. It doesn't freeze. The tracks don't lift up and down, and any water that gathers on the other side comes right through it. So gravel basically is one of your best bases you could ever use. And depending on what job you do, you got to juggle. Are you going to use a footer, or are you going to use gravel? So I just wanted to point that out. So that's pretty much it for the Pennsylvania bluestone. We're going to get into some chiseling later. But this right here is a piece of sandstone that I took off of a railroad bridge that they were tearing down. So we're going to look at that right now, and this piece of sandstone. Here we have an old railroad bridge that's going to be taken down. Here's the top stones on top of this railroad bridge. You can see they were faced this side, and they were faced that side. And the marks on the stone show you how they were chiseled. Now right here we're looking at the very front of the railroad bridge that they were tearing down. And then right here we're looking at the very back of it, and you notice they didn't care what the back of it looked like. And anytime you want to know how they built something, it's either be there when they're building it or be there when they're tearing it down.
Now from the very base up to the part that held the bridge, they put anywhere between 4 to 8 feet of concrete. So the stones was basically just a facade, and they filled the concrete behind it. But it's just an example on how they build these abutments that held the bridge up.
Now when the railroads came to Pennsylvania, any kind of stone they blasted, they would use as long as the stone fits. Here's conglomerate, here's sandstone, West Mountain stone, sandstone, PA flagstone. It was all used. So we're going to look at a railroad bridge now to use a little bit of everything. Now here we are at another railroad bridge, and look at what kind of stones they used. You can see where they use conglomerate, they use Pennsylvania bluestone, they use sandstone. Sandstone just goes to show you how they used every different kind of stone on the railroads. So this is the end of part 2, and we got a long way to go with sandstone. I hope you're getting something out of these videos, and next time we're going to go to this kind of stone, a building stone called West Mountain stone.